The top left-hand side of the map, our red Protoss player from Dragon Phoenix Gaming in this finals of the Alpha X Super Series number 24. So it is PartinG. Convincing win in the semis to get him here. It's a little bit of a tougher win for our semi-final. In the semi-finals for our Terran player. In the bottom right-hand side in the blue, we do have the Afrika Freaks TY. So yeah, best of 7, obviously. Hello, if you're watching this on YouTube. I'm debating how many of these matches from this tournament we're going to upload on YouTube. So you might have seen the previous couple. I think we're probably going to put all 3 of these up and make like just a little set. But if you're watching these good games, if you enjoyed them, remember to hit that like button on the videos. Helps out a whole bunch. And don't forget, if you don't already subscribe, I know a lot of people watch and they don't subscribe because their videos just pop up all the time anyway. But do consider subscribing. Helps us out a whole bunch. We upload a series every single day here on the YouTube channel for you guys from StarCraft 2. So you pretty much never run out of stuff to watch. So do check that out. Greatly appreciate it if you do. And obviously, let's get into this best of 7. Man, Terrans have loved this TVP build. So this is the Beyond build. Beyond shows up, enters GSL, and he comes in with his engineering bay block, which he uses to huge success, a combination of more macro-focused games from it and 2 base SCV pulls. And it's taken the world by storm. Players are all of a sudden just like, hello, we can build an engineering bay and just not expand right away, and it's really good. It's like, okay. It's crazy to me how quickly this build is picked up. And the funny thing is, it's like, Beyond was one of those players who really popularized the 2-1-1 build as well. And it's like, that was another of those builds which was really just suddenly... And 3-Rax Reaper. It was picked up by like every Terran within a week or two, and it was just being used by everyone. And absolutely the same case scenario here. However, PartinG is going to build a proxied Stargate on the map. He's going to gas steal as well, by the way. So he steals gas. He loses the probe over here. TY didn't check for this pylon. It's actually a proxy robo from PartinG, so he's going to be even more aggressive than what a proxy Stargate would allow him to be. And that's actually a pretty big deal right here. So you're going to see our SCV down the left-hand side and through the bottom side of the map in general. So SCV through the bottom of the map going to make its way along through the south side. The gas steal has been dealt with pretty quickly. TY obviously didn't want to go into an expansion right away, hence the engineering bay block. That's how this works. You take the factory, then you look to expand. Of course, PartinG is still stuck on one base, and TY very much so knows that, unless this base is out in a weird spot. And SCV gets to see the robo, so really good scout for TY. Now he knows exactly what he's up against. So that's some really good information from him right there. So yeah, TY gives some good info, and he's going to send a few Marines forward. He's going to build a bunker right next to this robo. This is a pretty big commitment to try and take this down. Can he fire across that pylon? Is that the goal? 3 Marines are not going to win against an Immortal. That's the problem. He's going to just try and take the robo down, but it is an Immortal first, so it's the right unit to be able to defend against this. More Marines rallying out the Cyclone as well. Well, he's going to put some damage onto that Immortal. Now 2 Stalkers showing up, and I fear that TY is overcommitted to trying to do something about this. I mean, that bunker finishes, but to what avail? You won't get any units inside of this. That's a little bit of a letdown. I mean, the Immortal being first up was definitely something TY didn't seem to expect, and definitely has not played out for him in his favor in the slightest. Widowmine burrows up toward the natural. It's the Stalker, takes that down already. The few Marines get out into the front, and well, at least he's getting something done. Another lock onto the Immortal, but unlikely to get a kill, right? Hard to stay in range with the Cyclone being that low HP. Did this Stalker just warp in? Blocked by the... I guess he can only warp in here, but blocked by the bunker, but I guess he can come and kill this off anyway. It will salvage. How about that? The Stalker's going to finish just as it gets freed. Okay, well, Prism shows up as well as PartinG does finally expand back at home himself. TY still on one base, so TY still just one base in it here. Trying to make this happen. It's a little concerning, for sure. It's a little concerning. There's a couple of gateways on the way up from PartinG in the back of this main base. And again, the unit's just kind of coming down to the bottom right-hand side. Siege tank about halfway done. A couple of Marines still coming up. And the Immortal having a pretty good time here, picking their way through this depot. Is, yeah, I mean, the tank gets siege, but I mean, Debo already goes down. What's Topsy really chasing onto the tanks? The Immortal does, Cyclone does, sorry. The Cyclone hadn't been there. The War Prison could have gone, just dropped on top of that siege tank, and then you basically just clean up and win the game. Maybe even if that Immortal had dropped down and actually target fired the Cyclone right away. Yeah, that would have been a good way to go about this as well. You have a drop across the map, kills the shield battery, gets access to dealing damage in the main base, so TY is starting to put some damage out here. Marines loading up, pulling away to the left-hand side. Doesn't get too much. An SCV, Propol, sorry, is still good though. A Propol is still pretty decent, all things considered. So I wouldn't be too upset about that. As the Viking gets the Prism, now the Immortal has to make its own way home. Obviously, still one base here, TY, so he's still looking to win the game in the next minute or two with this army. Gets a lock on. We'll have high ground vision thanks to the Viking. Just needs to not let the Immortal get in range of the Cyclone. Now the high ground vision's perfect. And he stays in range. He gets the Immortal. Now he's started to kill off the Robo, but he decides not to bother with that because he says, well, if anything comes out this Robo, I'm going to be able to cut it off anyway. And he's going to continue up to the top side of the map as Partin sets up the shield batteries, accepting his fate. And he might need to just play ultra defensively here to make this work. He's got charge on the way. If he gets to charge, he might win the game. Will he get to charge? That I'm a little bit less confident about because charge is really good, and charge isn't the slowest upgrade. It's only 100 seconds, so it's pretty quick. We're actually going to have probes already pulling into this fight. The Viking might want to land to help out. Cyclone, the tanks helping out, getting rid of that Zealot, which is most important. A lot of probes going down. The good news is the SCVs here have gone down as well. This Partin is just so far down on supply, but TY, I mean, he's still going to have to deal with reinforcing charge blocks soon. I still think they are very good against what TY is working with, but these Stalkers getting obliterated, and TY just has way too much as he continues to push all the way into the natural. The Super Battery is trying to do something, but there's nothing for it to actually heal. Nick goes down, and now Partin going to lose his natural. However, remember, this is just one base of TY, and look at that Dark Shrine in production. DTs could turn this game around. TY is not set up to build turrets or anything. He's got energy saved, but he would have to build an engineering bay and build turrets, and there's no SCVs to build turrets over here either, so DTs might be able to bring Partin back into the game. That might be his plan. Never mind the charge blocks. What about a bit of good old Dark Templar action? And he sees the Dark Shrine, so he's got to be at least somewhat aware of the possibility. As he scans, the first DT goes down. These tanks in trouble. Loses again 2 of the 3 siege tanks, and can't say that that is anything other than just a little bit messy. Another scan. Engineering bay is on the way. He starts up a Raven, but he needs the engineering bay to be done. He needs to build these missile turrets because he will not have another scan now, right? Yeah, he is 27 energy away from a scan. He's going to lose a siege tank in the process of trying to get to one. The tank trying to take down the pylon unsuccessfully. At least the Liberator siege is up in a good spot, which can't really be contested for the moment. DTs are so good though, and actually going to get some more tanks as they run back home. Going to get some extra shots off at the very least and really wreaking them up. Stalkers have to be very careful about fighting the Liberator. Loses one of them. This one's not in range, so it will get the finishing blow. Partin's still behind in Workers, still behind in Army, but remember, he's on 2 bases instead of the 1. And this is a mining out 1 base. The Worker lead of TY doesn't mean much. As he gets up to the expansion, then it means a little bit more for sure, yes, but he has to get to that expansion and get that up and running first. Obviously, Partin 1 basing. He's actually coming across the map. I actually think if Partin had a way to win this, would he be better expanding? Maybe not. I think he just needs the DTs to do some damage, really. He has the Robo, still alive. So maybe like a Prism with DTs to do like a serious amount of damage. And he's obviously not going to expand here, right? He gave up on that idea a little while ago, so he's not setting up for that. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I said Partin's on 2 base for some reason. He's obviously really not. I don't know what I'm I don't know what I'm saying with that. I've just completely blanked a little bit. I think I just derped out because I saw the CC build, and I referred to Partin being on 2 bases instead of TY, so that's just me being a derp. So yeah, Partin's pretty dead. He does not have another base to fall back to, so TY is 2 bases. Yeah, I just said this the wrong way around. I apologize. I apologize. God, I've been a bit of a derp in my casting today. Anyway, the game is pretty much set and done, right? I mean, Charge Archon ain't a bad composition, but you can Matrix one of these Archons, which is actually pretty good in this scenario because they are the unit that will deal a lot of damage here. The Raven not doing much at all. PartinG's going to type GG, and TY will take that down. That push was good. Yeah, sorry guys. Obviously I really derped out. For some reason I thought Partin was on 2 bases. Like, I didn't even think he was on 2 bases. I just said it. I think I just like mixed myself up by talking about the 2 base of TY, and then obviously I just ran with it in my brain. So yeah, I apologize. Partin was the one on 2 bases earlier. I said it right. Yeah, but he was obviously, when I was talking about it just now, I was saying he was still on 2 bases, and obviously that was not true. So that was just my own mistake, and it's important to point that out. So my bad, but fun game anyway. TY taking it with the 1 base all in. Obviously expands up to 2 bases after the initial attack, but really did it on the 1 base for the most part. GG's, and TY takes the 1-0 lead in the best of 7. As in the bottom right-hand side, our blue Terran player is TY. And the upper left-hand side, our red Protoss is PartinG. Game 2 of our series. Again, hopefully with 100% less Wardy derping on the commentary. I do apologize. As Aeon Infernum, thank you so much for the 21-month resub. Welcome back. 21 months, that's crazy. I'm coming up to 2 years. Hell yeah. Oh, guys, you know what? Last thing I'm going to mention outside of the game, just very quickly, but we are almost only 2 months away from the Christmas tree coming back. You guys excited to overload the Christmas tree yet another year in a row? I certainly am. It's always a fun time on the stream, isn't it? So get excited for that. I'm very, very excited myself. Should be a lot of fun. Should be a lot of fun, as always. All right, guys, let's get going into game number 2 of the best of 7. PartinG down a map. TY really loved it. Just a bit of aggression on one of the maps we're very familiar with, Death Aura. Interested to see what he brings out in some of these newer maps, because obviously we are playing on the maps that will be part of the new map pool from October 1st. Very exciting. As we do see this Rax on the way up in the main. Getting that ready to go. And it is Lightshade. So just to take you through this map in case you didn't watch the previous series with Lightshade played. It's honestly, it's kind of like Acropolis, if you remember Acropolis. Bit of a different middle of the map. Love the position on this high ground that TY was able to use against Ragnarok, and it definitely feels to me like there's some good Terran opportunities here. So interested to see what TY does to make use of it this time around. Very standard map though, very comfortable 3-4 bases. I actually really like this one. I think it's really cool. I like the white and black combination. I think it looks awesome. Really cool aesthetics, and really excited to see this one make it to the ladder map pool. It was one of the ones I was really sad didn't make it to the last ladder map pool, because obviously it was picked from the same TLMC as some of those other maps. So really glad to see it, seen it make it to this ladder map pool, because I think it really is one of the stronger candidates. As we do have the Adept going in there, putting some damage onto a Reaper, which will hop up into the main base and move into the main to see what's going on. Reaper chased away, is going to get taken down, so the Stalker able to get the kill there. That's the Adept coming through. PartinG gonna momentarily looked as though he was going to shade up into the main. Doesn't quite commit for it in the end. Just going to see the SCV coming through the bunker, going to be finishing in a moment, and the Marine is going to be able to pick away at this Adept, but 2 SCVs down. This early Adept of PartinG. It's really crazy because we don't see early Adepts doing that much damage anymore, and yet today PartinG's Adepts have already taken down so many SCVs. In the earlier series as well against Bunny, he was an SCV killer, and oh my god. It's kind of bad. I mean, the SCVs can kind of jump in the bunker, and that's what they will do when they get to low HP. Good save, good micro from TY. It was kind of necessary. Now a Hellion is out. Hellion's just going to go across the map. That's going to leave a pretty undefended natural, but obviously the idea being that maybe across the map PartinG is undefended and this Hellion can pick up a few probes. That might be the way to go about this. Okay, well, 2 Stalkers and an Adept start at the front. Going to push forward here just a little bit, and Bunker is going to put some damage out. The Stalker taking a few hits. Here's the Hellion. Nothing at home. And that's going to be 2 probes, 3 probes to start. And a great start. Stalker and Adept get recalled back. So not only do you get 3 probes, you also force the recall. So that's 50 energy early in the game used up, not on the Chrono Boost. The Hellion gets out alive. He's going to run past a Stalker in the middle of the map. No, it doesn't. Actually comes back up through the top side. Wow, what a startup from TY. Really cool decision with the Hellion to take it across the map, and PartinG was just not ready for it. He didn't see it leaving. He didn't see it with the reinforcing unit. And so you actually miss out on that completely. Really cool decision from TY. Really makes the most of what's up right away. As again, Cloak, Banshee on the way up right now. As just going to be seeing the siege tank coming in. So obviously defensive from TY initially, but the thing is this siege tank can then obviously become offensive as well. A marine tank Banshee push can be very, very powerful. So definitely some opportunity in all of that. Banshee finishes up, a second Banshee builds. Depot goes down on the natural as well. Just going to see our Banshee making its way out along through the bottom side of the map at the moment. So Banshee's making its way out and across. We'll take a turn up into that natural expansion sooner rather than later. I'm just going to see our 4 Stalkers in the prism. Going to be making their way down to the bottom side of the map. So some pressure from PartinG here. It's only 3 gateways. Oh, no, it's 4 gateways. Sorry, I thought I only saw 3 coming up. So it is 4 gateways. He's looking to put on a lot of pressure. It's not the best map for it. I mean, yes, you can blink up in the main, but there's a little bit of rotation between the main and the front. So, yeah, you got to be a little bit cautious here. Let's see what this Banshee can do. Battery isn't ready yet. Okay, that's... okay, there was an observer there. He maybe could have gotten some damage done. A tank just spawned and got killed off immediately. He will scan and kill the observer, which means actually this Banshee can just put out damage uncontested. Against these Stalkers, yeah, it's not one-shotting them or anything, but slowly but surely it chips away at these Stalkers and puts them into a little bit of a worrying position. TY, though, losing out on a supply depot. That means he's actually supply blocked for a while here as he sets up a wall off with depots now, trying to protect the siege tank. The Banshee runs out of energy, so it can be shot down, but the Stalkers blinked in to get the tank. Into the Banshee shots, into the Marine fire. PartinG trying to micro away here. There's so many low HP Stalkers that are really not getting out of here alive at the moment. This last one goes down. The Marines don't quite catch the War Prism. We've got a Stalker still down in the natural expansion as well. The Marines will come out of the bunker to deal with that. Okay, if 3 SCVs down, you kill off a good amount of the tanks, right? You get 2 of the siege tanks, 1 of the Banshees here. It lost you a lot of Stalkers. This wasn't cheap. 10 Stalkers going down. I actually don't mind the defense for TY here initially. Feels pretty good for him. Feels very good for him, actually. I like where it goes. These 2 Banshees still up and running. The only thing is the Prism goes down as well. The only thing I was about to say is that the 3rd base is coming up already, which means no 2nd and 3rd racks. It means you've got a strong economy following up from this, but you don't have stim or anything for a long time. And especially for someone who now, you know, PartinG's going 8 bases on, 8 gates on 2 bases with charge. And it means he's going to get aggressive again. And I don't think TY can defend this with the 3cc. Because I think missing out on the stim pack and the upgrades on the Marines and the bio, I actually think that puts you too far behind to recover from. So I think that is very problematic. I think this is actually a real issue for TY. Yeah, I don't want to be too pessimistic, but I'm really not feeling good about his chances of defending. I think he's going to have to get these Banshees to put in work again, but this time PartinG will probably babysit the Observer a little bit more, so the Banshees will be less effective at defending. Scans the natural, by the way. Sees the gases both mining here, even if this one's pretty fresh. It's going to be a Temple Archives on the way. I mean, this is basically as though he went up to 3 bases, but he didn't. Stalkers blink in. Banshee number 1, number 2 goes down, so instantly those units get killed off, and the Stalkers, well, not even a Stalker going down, loses an Observer, but to kill the 2 Banshees, we just saw how much damage they could do if given the opportunity in the defense. So, yeah. Now the Zealots are warped in. The Zealot Stalker army going to start moving through. Here we go. Auto turret goes down, but the Zealots again a pretty good surround. The Stalker's going to target down 2 siege tanks right from the start. Blinks forward for another one. And all of these Stalkers and Zealots, I mean, TY was already going to struggle to defend this, and then he tried to take the 3rd base on top of it. TY, by the way, look at this. Scan, scan, scan. He scans all 3 bases. He's like, wait, you have no 3rd? This is like a, I can't believe it sort of set of scans. He's like, really? You've got no 3rd base at all? Yeah, TY maybe has a chance if he stays in his natural defensively, but moving out of the 3rd base just, you know, exemplifies the issue that he has, which is that he's missing out on numbers. He doesn't have the upgrades, and it just gives PartinG the full-on opportunity to just attack on in. TY just needed confirmation there was no 3rd base, but he had 0 map control after PartinG's early pressure, and so PartinG capitalizes on that to tie us up 1-1, taking us to a tied-up series. Top left side, our blue Terran player. This is TY. Representing the Freak of Freaks, of course, is in the bottom right-hand side Our red Protoss player representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming is parting. And TY going to open this one up with a proxy. You know, I love watching TY parting in longer series because I feel like there's so many mind games. TY is absolutely not afraid. In fact, he's very preferent. You know, he really very much so prefers to play some aggressive styles and to change it up a lot. This is Romanticide, another of the new maps, an interesting one where you've got... I don't know what to make of this one. You've got this mineral wall off to go forward into your 5th base location. You can go, like, left into 5 bases. You can take this base up here. We saw that being done a lot in the previous series that we saw this map being played on as well. So there's really a few different options, which I think is very, very cool, very interesting, very exciting. As this probe of parting continues away to the upper left-hand side. And we'll just make its way all the way up to the top. So probe goes in toward that main base. Just going to be seeing the gateway coming up from parting in the main. And obviously, again, this barracks just coming through. Going to be finished in a few moments' time. With the probe, going to show up to, well, just come straight in and be annoying in the main base. So already coming into that main. Now we do have this probe going to go check over to the corner here, having a little bit of a look around. Is it the new season yet? No, the new maps come out on ladder on October the 1st, if I'm not mistaken, is what I was told. So a little while until these maps make it to the actual ladder, but some of these tournaments, some of the organizers have decided to start playing on these maps early, basically. So that's basically what we have been seeing a little bit of. Probe gets the proxy scout, and now Partin already had the Zealot on the way up just after the Nexus, so it's nice because it really denies this bunker from going up. You can deny that bunker or you can put it onto the Reaper. I think you want to deny the bunker though. If the bunker's coming up, that's the priority. Because you can just micro the probes in the main base. And yes, it's annoying, but much more annoying to have a bunker under natural expansion that then you can't get rid of because there's going to be a Reaper inside it. And so far, perfect control on the probes in the main. This probe here goes down, but only just. I mean, TY had to take a chunk of damage on the Reaper to get that done, and that minimizes what it can do next. So one probe only. One probe only is just going to be seeing the second Reaper coming through, and a couple of grenades going to bop that Stalker around a little bit. Okay, 2 Reapers on his way to the 3rd Reaper, so really wants to commit to this Reaper pressure. Across the map, Factory is done building a reactor, so we're going to be seeing some Hellions here next. As the command center build is part of the wall off, obviously parting is straight up to 2 bases. It's important at some stage here for TY to get some damage done. He's going to see the units moving across the map, and I think he's just realized that now that he should maybe think about this, because that definitely seems like it could be something of an issue. Stalker and the Zealot make their way along and going to go into the upper left side and find a couple of depots here. Meanwhile, the Reapers on the other side as well. I mean, they come in for 3 more probe kills, so they are starting to do that damage, but now your CC is delayed. It's actually going to be mines initially, by the way, out of the factory, not Hellions. I like that because that's actually a pretty reliable way to shut down these units. You can burrow those up, and the only way to get rid of these mines right now is to actually, you know, commit through to getting, you know, killed off. He gets 3 SCVs, though, which makes up for the 3 probes lost across the map. Reaper's not sure if they really want to intercept Stalkers. Stalkers are pretty good against Reapers, so I think you want to continue to go down the bottom right side. A 4th Reaper was made. This barracks built a lot of Reapers. Usually you see like 2 Reapers. Very rarely I'd say you see 3. 4 is like, to me, kind of unheard of. But now these Stalkers are going to come in and somewhat intercept. One Reaper goes down, the other Reaper taking a few extra shots as it escapes away with the others over to the right-hand side. It's kind of a weird situation as this barracks setting up in our main base, just having a look, keeping an eye on things. So the Reaper's coming around. The Armory of TY going to drop into the back of the main base. Now Stalkers of Parting continuing to come out the front. Going to go Armory, so he's going to keep it very... I mean, it's a very tricky just build overall. From the Reaper proxy into now the Widow Mines, which are going to have Cloak. TY really doing some weird things in this series overall, right? I like it, though. Like, he's keeping it different. He's keeping it up. It's not just letting this go late game or macro or anything like that. It's just a lot of weird builds and checking that Partin can kind of survive and win against these weird builds before he even gets to a macro stage of the game. It's pretty fun. This barracks very slow to go home. It did actually come for a bit of a fly around in the main. Got to see the Twilight Council, so gets the confirmation of the tech choice. Oh, that's interesting, actually. He's going to run the Widow Mines across the map because he's got a full medevac of Widow Mines here as well. So this Reaper Widow Mine force is about to run into the natural, while the medevac in the main is going to try and get a bit of dropping damage done. Oh, Widow Mines will start to burrow up. They don't have fast burrow, remember. They're just going to be cloaked. As we're going to be seeing the drop in the main is actually going to be no response from PartinG, and this is a dead mineral line. 11, 15 probes go down. This shield battery really clumps probes up in this corner as well, especially, so it gets even more damage done. There's a cleanup on this base, but this medevac going to leave. There's actually 2 Widow Mines left. Oh, no, the Stalkers blink, and they get the medevac. Unfortunate for TY. Okay, the big thing here from TY is defending the follow-up counterattack, because the counterattack now from PartinG has a lot of power behind it. He's got a really good arm. He's cleaned out the medevac. He's cleaned out all the mines, so that's something he doesn't have to worry about in the slightest. So now going across the map, I think PartinG can get a lot done. Because there's not really many units out here from TY. Bunker's on the way. He's got a handful of Marines, 1 single tank. But look how good this map is for blink play. In fact, I feel like this map is going to be dominated by blink play, because you can sit on the front here and fight this bunker and blink into the main directly. It's actually a horrible map of playing against Stalkers on. I actually didn't realize how good it was. I actually think TY dies in about 10 seconds because... Well, maybe not 10 seconds, but I don't think he's going to have much chance of holding this. He's just going to be way too split up, and it's going to be way too easy for the pros to relocate. I mean, the bunker goes down without really a fight. He took the shields off 1 Stalker. Now SCV is starting to go down. At least there is a double siege up of tanks, or at least 2 tanks, 2 double siege. He doesn't double siege yet. And a Marine kill or 2. He's just going to sit in the corner and stay away from the tanks. Cancel a building depot. Okay, well, TY is surviving for the moment. Whoa! Well, there's the blink forward. Gets a siege tank. Well, 1 tank isn't that bad, because then you've got another tank about to finish up, so you'll still kind of be on 2 siege tanks here. Now, one of the main things I was talking about, he actually blinks forward right now to save the Observer. He takes the attention away from it. Order turret does get the kill in the end as the Raven drops down another order turret. Are these Stalkers really trapped? Are they going to go down? They very well might. TY, new Stalkers showing up, though, and they're going to get in here, and there's just not enough Marines to put the damage in, and TY is going to end up typing GG. Hey, this was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was actually going to be much more problematic for TY, and he actually made it look close. Like, he got to a point where maybe those Stalkers were going down, maybe that was so close to being cleaned up, but obviously it was just not quite the case in the end. GG. PartinG does take and goes to the 2-1 lead in this best of 7. As TY just didn't really, TY just couldn't really stand up to him after that initial pressure left him with so few units. And PartinG knew exactly how to punish it. Game number 4. In the bottom left-hand side, our blue Terran player. This is TY. And he is not up 2-1. He is down 1-2. Scoreboard incorrect there for a moment. As it is, of course, PartinG winning that game 3 to break the tiebreaker 1-1 into 2-1 advantage. It is best of 7, so he hasn't won the series with this map. If he wins here, this map would put him onto a match point advantage, of course, though. So it's a big one for TY to try and defend against. You know, if you let PartinG win this game right now, you got to win 3 in a row yourself, and that's never easily done. Jagannatha, another of these new maps that you may not have seen before. It does have these acceleration zone generators. I really like the usage of them on this map. They're really designed to be able to allow you to rotate around the map more easily, take fights from different directions. I think these are going to be much more impactful than the acceleration zone generators we have on Death Aura at the moment. So really excited to see those in play and to see how the players put them to use and work around them. For sure. Should be fun. Should be interesting to see. As that probe comes down the bottom left-hand side, is going to move through the natural up into the main. A good little scout of what's up here is SCVs and probe going against each other. Next is on the natural. SCV of TY will make its way out across the right-hand side. Yeah, a little bit of scouting around then. TY getting into the main and just having a little bit of a poke. What would be better, a base with rich minerals and rich Vespian gas, or a base in an acceleration zone? Rich minerals and gas, right? Because the acceleration zone doesn't make them mine faster. It just make them move faster. So basically, like you're still going to be capped at 2 probes per mineral patch. Like, you need a probe here to start mining when the other probe finishes. It would just mean that these probes have more waiting time. So there would be a slight increase if you had like a acceleration zone here, because there is like that slight, you see here, this probe finishes mining just before this other one gets back or thereabouts. This one, that patch isn't mined for like a split second. So there is going to be a slight increase in mining, and that's why sometimes going beyond that 16 worker count is a little bit more income. But it really is like drops off a lot from, from going from 15 to 16, then 16 to 17 is much worse in terms of worker count on a base. So yeah, rich Vespian gas and rich minerals is obviously going to be way, way better. Keep it coming around and just hanging around in the natural. Adept does not get too much done this time, so finally TY able to shut down the aggression of Par and able to say, nuh-uh, not today. And this Adept is going to go escaping away back up to the top side of the map. It's going to be seen now. Adept going to shade all the way home. Is kind of done for the moment. So yeah, just going to see a couple of gates coming up. The Robo facility building. It's a Dark Shrine early from PartinG. So he's switching it up once again here. Dark Templar this time to start us off. But there's already a Raven on the way in from TY. So he's off to a fantastic get-go. I mean, he's going to love this. You get the Raven up. You got detection. Now, the Raven can't be in 2 places. So you can still split those DTs up. What's popular is to warp in 3 DTs. 2 go into the main via the Warp Prism, and 1 runs into the natural. And then there's, again, the Raven can only be in 1 place. You're still going to get some damage generally. It's still difficult to defend perfectly and take no damage at all. But if you can do that, and if you can minimize damage taken, your counterattack becomes hugely powerful, because then the DTs have been a wasted investment, and you don't really have a faster third base as the Protoss player. You don't really have, if you don't have the faster third, you don't have the faster, tech that you really need to take a longer fight. You don't really have any of that, so yeah, there's the 3 DTs, 1 to the natural, the other 2 will head toward the main. Observer is about to finish up as PartinG will move toward the main base. That's such a very annoying, because these DTs, even with the Raven here, they managed to get the stim pack denial. And now there's the DT in the natural, which is actually going to get this turret kill as well. So it keeps the idea of having to split your units between these 2 bases. Forces the scan in the natural. DT, can it get away? No, it's a good scan. Well placed. Really covers the majority of the area, so there's no corner you can sit in with the DT and just kind of get out of scan range or anything. Nicely done, but killing the stim off really slows you down here as TY, and definitely stops you from having the counterattack potential, especially when you're playing against DTs. A lot of the time you're like, okay, cool, this is my moment to go across the map and fight, but obviously there now is no moment to go across the map and fight, because you don't have stim, and if you don't have stim, well, that's obviously extremely problematic. 2 DTs in the prism as they come to the left-hand side. Marine's gonna show up to push that prism back over the left. The prism gets pushed back to the left here, and just gonna be seeing charge coming up, the +1. Attack now starting on the Forge, extended thermal lance coming through. Prism into the main, and DT's already dropping down. 3 SCVs killed, but that is all. As the Raven gets, goes up into the corner here, the Prism continues to move around. I mean, the big thing is you're just denying the Terran from going across the map, right? The more you keep TY at home, the better this is for you. TY is now starting to unload some, well, Marines and an SCV. This SCV wasn't meant to be here, and TY is going to fix it. Yeah, Marines coming up. I wonder if going up to 18 workers on bases like the Pillars of Gold main would be worth it. Going up to 18 workers is actually almost always worth it on a base. There are some graphs that show you the effectiveness of, adding extra workers. And worker 16 to 17 is about as effective on most mineral patches as adding worker 15 to 16. 17 to 18 is a large drop-off, and 18 to 19 even more so, and then 19 through 24, like, very minimal, but still have a little bit extra. So, usually it actually is not a bad thing to have, like, a couple extra SCVs per mineral line, or probes per mineral line in general. is actually not so bad. Like, you still would mine more if you have, like, say you have 16 and 18 here. Those two probes actually would still be better off on this base. But they would still do more on the natural than they would if there was no other base to go to, you know? So, it's actually kind of a complicated little thing. Something that it feels like it should be more obvious, but it's actually a bit more complex than that because of the way the mineral patches work and the different mining time between mineral patches. So, if you guys are really interested, there are graphs that people have done like proper research on and stuff to like figure it all out. So, anyway, yeah, that's like really deep mechanical kind of StarCraft stuff and kind of deeper theory crafting. In general, get to 16 workers and then get a new base is the best way to go about it. Yeah, that's why, like, the Alpha Star, right? Alpha Star had this thing where as this prism goes down, by the way, DT forces a scan, but that's it. Alpha Star went up to, like, more than 16 workers in PvP when PvP was very one-base focused. And that more than 16 workers on minerals actually gave Alpha Star that little bit of an income boost. They actually kind of changed the PvP meta a little bit, because when players got stuck on one base, they realized they could go beyond, like, the usual work count. And it actually gave them an income boost that kind of, you know, created an advantage, so... It's, yeah, it was actually really, really cool. That was something that Alpha Star was... It's one of those things that Alpha Star was actually really cool for, because it actually kind of almost did something that which people knew about but didn't want to believe in almost, you know? Anyways, this army coming down the right side to focus back up on this game. We've obviously not seen a lot, which is why I've not mentioned much about it. The drop didn't really do anything from TY. The prism finally got cleaned up, so we've not had anything happen for a couple minutes here. But we have built up into Colossi, and obviously now we've got a bit of a push coming across from Pine, but, well, tanks in good numbers defensively. This position, in theory, should be easy to hold. Pine's just going to go for it anyway, run straight through here. Double Matrix on the Colossi, 1 and 2. I mean, that will just stop this attack, but you've already lost 2 of the siege tanks. Well, it's going to be tough because these 3 Colossi are still up and running. Yeah, you lost a little bit of your frontline buffer, but... yeah... Okay, well, I'm just going to be seeing a scan on top of this. I'm not sure if Partin can really push forward into this a second time. He's going to try for it. The EMPs are now available. Massive EMPs in the center of the army. But the bio's a little bit out of position down the right side, and he loses so many SCVs. 17 workers just fall by the wayside, and this is a real shame. If this army is more like a concave here, the problem is he's afraid of the army coming up this ramp or something. Oh, I think he wants to just kind of play behind the tanks, but he then has to play this choke point, and I think that's the issue. You have to play, you know, kind of setting yourself up to play into a choke point against Colossi, and you're giving Partin kind of the fight that he wants. And those SCVs, I can't believe 17 just died. That felt like they happened all in an instant. Just going to be seeing the army sitting around in the acceleration zone. First moving around the front. Shadow Stride on the way up, so we will see Blink DTs coming into play very soon. Hi, DT, just to check to see if the Raven's still around in the right place, you know. A reminder that DTs are a thing on this, you know, in this game right now. Thing is, Partin's just parked outside the third. He's going to base number 5 of his own, and TY is not really in a position to fight back at all. I mean, that fast fight, losing the workers was obviously big for him, and if he still had them extra workers, I'm sure 4th base would have started much sooner, and then you're going up to 4th base much faster, and the game looks a lot more competitive. The thing is, right now, Partin is just taking this side of the map, and he's just sitting here. And as long as Partin's just sat here, I don't know what TY really does. Partin's going to go for it again. I'm still a little bit I'm a little bit kind of worried about these kind of fights. EMPs initially are good. The tanks do a lot of work, and I do feel like Partin is trying to force the issue way too heavily here. Partin's doing that classic Partin thing where he's got like a huge economy, and so he kind of just believes he can kind of attack in and in again and again. But it's not really the case. A little bit of harassment here and there was good. He gets 12 SCVs, but actually now he's down below half the army supply of TY. He's got a bit of money to spend for sure, but it's all just DTs and Zealots and Stalkers. This is not an army that's meant to really be able to fight here. Prism goes down, so reinforcements are stopped. The D's have the DTs at least going around the left-hand side. I think the Vikings realize that as well, so they're going to pull back as the defense. They are going to pull back as the defense. Going to need a scan, though. The Vikings don't trade super well, but they get the job done. Maybe, kinda, not really. This Widowmine at least. Oh my, what? The DT, what happened here? The scan ran out, so the Widowmine didn't actually connect properly on the DT. It connected into thin air because the DT was cloaked, but the DT still got hit by the splash damage of the Widowmine. That's why the DT didn't die to the Widowmine, but was still taking damage. That was actually kind of a funky little interaction we saw right there. Alright, well, rest of this army from TY is still moving up to the top of the map, and Zealots and Stalkers. I mean, this is my problem for PartinG. His army comp's just not good. Like, it is pure Zealot Stalker. He hasn't rebuilt into anything. One Disruptor joins the fray. Well, what if he just dodges that one Disruptor shot? Then you have, like, 0 splash damage. Yeah, it's good at forcing this Terran player to back off, but that's about it at the moment. And PartinG was really impatient with this. I don't think he had to fight in the way he did. He could have waited for 4th base to come up. He could have harassed around the sides a bit more. He could have moved his army around a bit more. I did not like the way he tried to fight this. I think he just said, I'm so far ahead, I can just fight, trade, rebuild, and win the game, but he actually wasn't quite that far ahead. Disruptor shot, gonna fire, doesn't quite land. The fire unit's coming straight through. Another Disruptor shot that will not quite connect just yet. Well, PartinG backs away. I'm just going to see our bio coming around the right side. A couple of Widowmines setting up. I'm going to get burrowed as I cannon. He's going to help to defend this spot. In the end, PartinG, it's going to work out for him, right? The economy difference is just a bit too big, but TY kind of had a timing where I think he could have got across the map. How many gates is PartinG on? 12? It's scary when 12 gateway units are warping in at a time, and it can feel tough to find that moment of fight, and in this case, TY definitely didn't find that moment of fight, and now he's definitely fallen back behind again, but yeah, I really did think PartinG was on the way of, on the way toward losing this because of the amount that he lost in the previous fight. Disruptor shots fire, just gonna see Zealot Stalker. Disruptor still pushing through. GG is called. PartinG takes it to a 3-1 advantage after Jagannatha, and is gonna go and put himself up a match point in this best of 7 final. PartinG, can he close this out? Well, we'll be finding out in Game 5. Game 5, as we go to the bottom left-hand side. In the bottom left, it is the blue Terran player TY, who needs to defend the match point advantage of his opponent if he wants to keep this tournament chances alive. He needs to win 3 maps in a row. Just needs one more map in the top. Our red Protoss player is PartinG. Another of the new maps that will be on the ladder from October 1st, as we do just see the probe coming down the bottom left side. Is this the last cast of the day? Yes, this will be my last series today. I just need to go offline and put these up on YouTube. My YouTube upload usually goes up in like 3.5 hours, so I have to give it plenty of time just to make sure, just in case it goes a bit weird processing and stuff and uploading. So I have to get these cut up and rendered and uploaded to YouTube, or at least one of them, so I don't really have time to cast much more. And the other replays I have, I actually think I'd rather keep for a later date. A little bit later in the week when we have another day without anything currently scheduled, basically. So yeah, gateway goes down. And we do set up this gateway in the natural expansion. Obviously, that's very exciting. PartinG loves to use this as TY. He's going to come down with this SCV, but he isn't going to go into the natural scout. He's just going to go across the map. But a scout across the map at least tells him that the gateway isn't in his opponent's base, which is obviously quite important. And so it drops down. I'm just going to be seeing this probe actually killed off pretty early, but I mean, obviously the probe wants as much damage as possible to give the Zealot a bit of a better time here. SCV shows up into the upper right side, sees the Cyber Core on the way, and well, Reaper is out to start fighting this Zealot as TY started building Marine as well. Second Zealot on the way up, and Yeah, I mean, this Reaper's just here to fight this. The Zealot's taking a lot of damage. I think this Reaper's going to die. So you lose a Reaper early. You really need to make sure you get the cancel on the natural here. If you don't get a cancel on the natural, you're generally in a lot of trouble. Stalker now starts. Natural cancel should still be a possibility. Bunker cancels. Pull some SCVs to fight this. I'm going to be seeing the Zealot coming up this round. So, Zealot causes some chaos. The Stalker about to get here, but honestly, I mean, I guess you've killed a few SCVs, but now we're going to keep pulling these SCVs as you go towards this gateway. There's only one Stalker. There's no Zealot to protect it. Well, SCV is doing a good job putting damage out. The Marine goes down, but this Reaper will still continue to deal damage. And I think the Stalker dies. SCV falls, and now you've got SCVs, a Reaper, and a Marine to fight a pylon. And this next Stalker might not get out on the map. Oh, and then you've got the CC still building. You didn't get the cancel here, and PartinG has not found the damage he needs. Okay, now the Reaper can go across the map as well to counterattack. And there's nothing at home. There's no gateway up or anything. There's no unit to recall. And TY just takes the game. Okay, I didn't expect the game to actually GG outright there. But I could see the advantage that TY has because PartinG has no unit to recall back home. He just has nothing at all. Losing the Zealots so haphazardly. Usually you don't chase the Reaper so hard into the main. You pull it back toward the natural and that kind of stuff. That was a little bit rough. GG's. And TY is going to at least send us through to game number 6. So game 6, here we come. And more StarCraft titter-tatter? Tippy-tappy? I don't know. Something that makes a keyboard sound. Alright, in the top right-hand side, our Blue Terran player. He's defended one match point of his opponent. Can he defend another to take it to an ace game? In the top right, our Blue Terran player from the Afrika Freaks is TY. Up against the red Protoss in the bottom left-hand side. From Dragon Phoenix Gaming, it is PartinG. Alright, game 6. What we thinking, guys? What are we thinking? I'm kind of feeling a bit of, blink. I think PartinG is kind of done with the nonsense. I think he's just going to go for a bit of a standard blink opener. I actually think he's going to play a bit more of a regular game, like, you know, PartinG regular. Like, I still think it's going to be aggressive. I don't think it's necessarily going to be the super fast third, and maybe it's going to be very focused around putting some damage out, but I think it'll be a little bit more regular this time around. I think we're kind of done with VTs and stuff is what I'm saying. TY, no SCV scout. Maybe we'll just go across the map now, or after the barracks. The most important thing you want to see is there is a nexus, or if there is no nexus. So you can actually do that with this SCV scout and still have good enough warning to know what to do with the Reapers. So I think this is okay. This probe comes back in early. It's going to block the natural. That is a massive pain in the butt. Because now it's 145 and that CC is meant to go down. He has to build it a little bit out of position. You have to pull another SCV as well because otherwise this probe's going to keep dancing around and nibbling away at that SCV. As you see, this Reaper just going to be popping. And we do have the SCV coming up here into the natural. And just going to see there is indeed a Nexus down. Shield battery on the way. So that is going to be that investment into being able to go across the map with the first Adept. It means that the first Reaper can't do much against the probe line if the Adept isn't there to defend. So it's 100 minerals you basically spend to try and deal damage across the map. And right now, Bunker did not come down from TY immediately. This bunker can come down earlier. We've seen people build this bunker earlier to help negate the impact of this initial Adept. So let's see what ends up happening here. As this Adept goes for a shade forward, it is going to make its way up this ramp across the high ground. Bunker's just over halfway done. I think it might just about be in time. I was a little worried for TY, but I think he's got it timed out. Good grenade. It was okay. He kind of brought the Adept forward. Would have been better to hit it back. He gets one SCV that was built in the command center, so a slight delay there, but the other one that was built in the bunker will finish it off. Alright, well, the Adept, that's kind of it done now with the, bunker up and so on. And the Reaper and Hellion coming through to chase it, absolutely. I like this. Target firing the Hellion makes more sense because the Reaper's going to regenerate anyway, whereas the Hellion actually needs to go back to get repaired. And we're just going to be seeing our units from TY going to go down toward the natural. Now, they're going to show up on this natural expansion. They're going to be able to go in here, and if they can get in and put some damage down to the workers, that would be great. I was wrong on my call, by the way. We are going to be seeing Dark Templar from PartinG. So probably a Blink follow-up, but DTs initially. TY, please go scout the main. That's where you want to be right now, based on what we're seeing. He's going to get a second probe, but I think that might cost him the scout. No? No? Oh, he gets in. Nice scout. Clicks on the Dark Shrine, clicks on the Twilight Council. So that is... He's already building a Raven, so never mind. He was building the Raven before he clicked on it, so he was already intending to do this. And that just means now he knows that the DTs are going to be coming, so he can be a little bit more mentally prepared to deal with them. And when I say that, it just means you can get the units in the right places at the right times, you know, ahead of time. You don't have to worry about that or anything. And that is a big helping hand for sure. It definitely helps a lot. Alright, well, Helene out the front. The couple Stalkers coming in. You're going to be able to pick away at that Helene, and it just survives. Prism going across the map. Second Raven on the way. I kind of like it. Like, it's expensive, but it means you can kind of put them in two different bases, and you can kind of worry less about these DTs. You can maybe even leave one at home defensively and bring the other one out more aggressively. Hello? Hello? Oh, well, that's interesting until the Marines are now out of position to deal with the DTs dropping in the main. Instantly drops the auto turret. DTs turn a bit more over to this direction, though, and the first couple of Marines going down, and yeah, I'm kind of afraid that this is backfired. He's going to lose the reactor. Okay, well, I think he'd rather lose the reactor than SCVs. He doesn't lose the reactor. It gets saved. PartinG lifts up a moment too soon. That's obviously a pretty big deal. It's just going to be seen our Blink chrono boosting out on the Twilight Council. So bringing that Blink upgrade up and running. We've got the Nexus going down on the 6 o'clock. And the Prism of PartinG going back around into the middle of the map. Raven, Marines, a Hellion all joined up together. The Blink continuing through. And the Command Center about to finish up on the natural with a whole bunch of extra depots continuing on into play. Just going to see our Hellion of TY moving into the center, and he's going to see that Prism, is going to see those couple of Archons. Hellion gets picked off immediately as we've now got the Forge going down into the main base. So Forge starting up, and the Prism makes its way into the main. Drops the Archons down, lifts them back up. Bit of a dance around. Here's a couple of SCVs will fall. The Raven coming through and is obviously looking for the potential, auto turret, maybe an interference matrix. If he can catch it would be nice. He doesn't have the matrix available just yet. There it is. Nice try. The problem is that's not what you wanted. You kind of wanted the matrix to go down with maybe one Archon out of the Prism, because if you can do that, then you can obviously stop the Archon from lifting back up, and it's basically a free Archon kill. Now it was kind of just 75 energy to delay the Archons dropping back out again for a while, which ain't bad, but it ain't exactly what you were looking for, I don't think. Well, just seeing this Viking continue to patrol, just trying to deflect the Prism. TY building those factories. We're going to see some mech for game number 6 of this series. Tournament live on the line. TY going to crank out the mech. I feel like PartinG is one of the scariest players to play mech against. And I don't understand mech on this map. Because to me, mech on this map involves you taking this third base and just dying to the Zealot charge lot. Just running from either side. Like, I just don't think you survive that first wave of attack, that first wave of aggression. When you're on a very low tank count, tanks aren't great against charge lots. I actually really hate it. There's multiple Immortals here as well. If PartinG knows what's up as well, right? Because Hallucination in the main, the Prism's been around this entire time. I think PartinG's just going to pull the trigger and go for this. I don't think he lets this third base get to mine very easily at all. I don't care how defensive those tanks are on the high ground. I don't think that saves you. When the Prism can bring the Immortals in range and they're going to shoot them down really easily anyway, I don't like this. I don't think this is good for TY. I think PartinG just knows exactly what he's up against. I think he knows exactly what he needs to do to win this. Yeah, he's going to go from this side. I wouldn't mind him going like charge loss from these two angles. I do think obviously two angles better than one angle just because it is siege tanks, but it honestly might not matter anyway because the tanks are quite far set back. As long as you get to like here unhindered, then I think you're kind of all right. A few more charge loss coming in. There's Temple Archives as well and a fourth base from PartinG on the way up. And he's just going to go from the left-hand side. He's going to start charging through. In theory, this is the best fight I think TY is going to get out of this. Dropping some auto turrets. There's his ult on the bottom side as well. Liberator survives a long time in this, and the Liberator will really do a good job of helping to hold on. PartinG is pushed back. This wasn't quite the snazzy engagement I was originally expecting. There was absolutely nothing onto that Liberator, so that was obviously really good for TY. But now, what happens if he just runs into the natural? These unupgraded Marines don't do much. That siege tank there goes down very easily. Yeah, now the tanks, they're all positioned around defending the third base, but what if you don't attack the third? Well, now he moves his way to the third. Stalker's going to go for this Liberator. He loses one of the siege tanks, but the Lib goes down. The tank's on the natural. Being picked apart. Oh, one of them just about surviving, but the Stalkers blink in to get it. The natural is being broken, and there's still a wall off up and running, but auto turret's going down. Another tank showing up. I mean, another Immortal died, but the Stalkers just blink through. Liberator's a little slow to siege. He'll lose one of them already. The second one will get a couple shots off and no more. And the Stalker count's still going down. Is there enough here from PartinG to keep on pushing this forward? I don't know if there is necessarily. A few more Hellbats coming into play. Problem is the Hellbats just don't do a lot to the Stalkers. They're doing a lot to the Immortal, but only because they kind of sat there taking it. Wow, TY actually leaves the game. Let me just rewind, because I'm not sure if this should end right now. Immortal moves up here. So around now, TY is actually up on army supply. The problem is, this is when he GG's. He's up on army supply, but he's got zero control of his natural, and all of his army supply is in production, and it's actually only like 1 tank and 2 libs. So he's actually, like, his army supply looks good, but it's actually 2 Ravens that are out of energy, 2 tanks that are out of position that get blinked on the moment they move, 2 libs that are only halfway done against Stalkers, and 1 tank in production. The rest of it's just Hellions, so his army supply is kind of dead weight. Yeah, so I mean, it's more army supply, and that's just why I wanted to check. It's more army supply, but it really is just kind of dead weight army supply. Like, yeah, it's. I think GG is. You could have stuck around like a moment or 2 longer, but I don't think it's a bad GG. I do think the game is on its way to ending. As PartinG then will close this out 4-2 over TY, taking down the mech on Pillars.